What if you discovered that some organ procurements began before patients were truly dead, and that warning signs were missed inside operating rooms in ICUs?
Welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. Stay informed with quick, easy-to-listen summaries of our latest articles, perfect for when you're on the go. No reading required. Subscribe for free at mercola.com for the latest health insights.
Hello, and welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. I'm Ethan Foster, and today we're unpacking a federal investigation that found serious safety failures inside parts of the U.S. organ donation system, how it started, what regulators uncovered, and the concrete steps you can take to protect your wishes and your family.
I'm Alara Sky. Organ donation is widely viewed as a final act of generosity, with more than 48,000 transplants each year and over 103,000 people waiting for a match. Yet the investigation you're about to hear shows how rushed decisions and poor oversight can put living patients at risk and undermine trust in a system that needs absolute precision.
A single case pushed this into the spotlight. In October 2021, Anthony T.J. Hoover was rushed to a Kentucky hospital after a drug overdose. He was declared brain dead, and because he was on the donor registry, the local organ procurement organization, then known as Kentucky Organ Donor Affiliates, moved the process forward with his family's consent.
During preparation in the operating room, TJ showed signs of life. Staff saw movement, head shaking, and eye contact. A perfusionist reported visible tears. Concerns were raised, and when the procuring surgeon ultimately refused to proceed, the recovery was halted. TJ survived, and his experience triggered broader scrutiny of how death is determined and verified before procurement begins.
Federal officials at the Health Resources and Services Administration, under the Department of Health and Human Services, launched a formal review. Investigators described patterns of failing to follow best practices, poor collaboration with primary medical teams, and missed recognition of neurological function, signs of organizational breakdown rather than isolated errors.
The review examined 351 authorized, not recovered cases, situations where donation had been approved but did not occur. Nearly 1 in 103 cases had concerning features. 73 showed neurological signs incompatible with donation after circulatory death, meaning the patients still displayed brain function that did not align with legal death.
Investigators also found at least 28 patients without a documented cardiac time of death, with records noting discharges to hospice, rehabilitation, or home. To make terms clear, donation after circulatory death involves procurement after the heart stops, without prior confirmation of brain death. The controversy arises when any sign of life or neurological function remains.
Patterns were not limited to one setting. Smaller hospitals and rural facilities showed more oversight gaps, with weaker coordination between hospital teams and procurement staff. And when the federal review expanded its lens, officials reported seeing similar high-risk patterns in other organ procurement organizations across the country.
In response, the government announced reforms aimed at restoring safety and transparency. HRSA issued corrective actions that require root cause analysis when policies are not followed and insist on clear, enforceable death determination protocols before any recovery activity begins.
One critical point was the 5-minute observation rule, which requires a full 5-minute period after the heart stops before organ removal can start. Investigators cited failure to adhere to this standard. New procedures also empower any team member, nurse, technician, or physician to halt procurement if a sign of life or any safety concern appears.
National reporting requirements have been strengthened. The Organ Procurement and Transplantation Network must collect and forward to federal regulators every instance where a donation is stopped for safety reasons, no matter who raises the concern. This replaces internal handling that often minimized or dismissed red flags.
Accountability measures now include the threat of decertification for organizations that ignore the rules. Officials emphasized that procurement must never begin when there are signs of life, and that every potential donor deserves the same standard of respect and verification, regardless of hospital or geography.
If you're registered as a donor or considering it, you can act today to make your wishes clear and enforceable. First, write a detailed donor directive. Specify the conditions under which donation may proceed. for example, requiring brain death to be confirmed by 2 independent neurologists. Keep a copy with your documents and give one to a trusted family member.
Second, talk with your family now. Explain what you want if you're ever in a critical situation. Ask them to advocate for time, clarity, and full documentation before any donation decision is made. Make it explicit that no one should feel rushed and that they have your permission to ask questions and pause the process if something is unclear.
Third, learn your state's brain death criteria. Policies vary, and some allow teams to skip steps that you may consider essential. Reading the criteria in advance helps you identify ambiguities and gives your family the language to press for thorough evaluation if they ever need it.
Fourth, ask your local hospital about its protocols before a crisis. You have the right to know how brain death is confirmed, who calls time of death, and whether families can pause donation if concerns arise. Practical questions. How is the 5-minute observation handled? And which staff can stop a procurement if a sign of life appears? Signal that you expect rigorous adherence to policy.
These reforms are part of a broader effort to make the system safer and more transparent. The goal is to protect potential donors while preserving the life-saving promise of transplantation. Clear rules, real-time accountability, and informed families move the process closer to that standard.
I want to underline the larger point. Trust depends on consistent application of law and protocol, regardless of hospital size or staffing. When teams confirm death correctly, communicate clearly, and document every step, you can support donation with confidence that your wishes and dignity will be respected.
Here's today's challenge. Draft a 1-page donor directive that spells out your conditions for donation, share it with a family member, and schedule a call to your local hospital to request its brain death and procurement policies. Put control in your hands. Thank you for watching Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe now and click the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.